What's up, Conquerors? Here's everything you need to know about Tughlaq Dynasty, or Dynasty, I guess it depends on how you say it, in under 10 minutes. This is a crash course. This is not a detailed course of every unit and technology available to them. The Tughlaq Dynasty is a Delhi variant. They have the berry bonus just like Delhi, and their infantry can construct walls just like Delhi. They have a lot of the same units, but they're very different in a lot of ways. Okay, they also kind of have a similar flag. From just my perspective of how the civilization works, the civilization revolves around forts, which are specifically called the Tughlaq forts. The fort bonuses, the governors of these forts, and of course, elephants. So, the Tughlaq dynasty does not actually have resource drop-off points. They have elephants, worker elephants, that are essentially resource drop-off points. Okay? So anytime you want a new resource drop-off point, like let's say if we want to put one on the gold here, then the worker elephant actually has to spawn from the town center and go out to the resource point. Okay? So these always spawn from the town center. Your villager does not have to build them. They just spawn out from the TC. Okay, so that's pretty cool, right? The worker elephant, like I said, essentially functions as a resource drop-off. So they also have the technologies that you would normally see, you know, at your mill or lumber camp or mining camp. So obviously there are some economic technologies which are missing, but there are also pretty strong technologies that they do have, okay, such as woven baskets, which you can get in the feudal age. Now, one of the key aspects of the Tughlaq dynasty is that their research comes in virtually instantly. I mean, it's 5 seconds for wheelbarrow here, but compared to normal wheelbarrow, it's pretty much instant. But it does cost more money, okay? So they pay more for technologies, but the technologies come in extraordinarily quickly. I don't know the math on that, but I would think that works out pretty well, right? So, because I would think a lot of the basically resources that you spend to get the upgrade, it ends up paying off, at least for the economic technologies. So, they have the same landmarks, but the landmarks do different things. So, Tower of Victory increases attack speed of elephants when produced from buildings within its influence. Dome of Faith acts as a mosque and provides early access to healer elephants. So, you can make imams or healer elephants, which is super cool. Healer elephants are really expensive, but they're a support elephant with 2 mounted imams that individually healed allied units. So they're almost like super tanky imams. They actually have an attack. So they can attack, they can support. The imams up here act individually and heal around while the elephant attacks. So I'd assume if you're playing against the Tughlaq dynasty, you want to kill these healer elephants pretty early. So if we take a look at the buildings, let's get a barracks, an archery range, and a stable. Barracks is the same, no unique units here, same stuff. Archery range, same, nothing unique here. You'll see, though, no tower elephants. In the stable, there is a unique unit which replaces the Ghazi Raider called the Raider Elephant, which is a super cool unit. It doesn't do any... It does special damage basically to range and siege just as your normal horseman would, okay? So it kind of replaces your horseman in this case with the Delhi, the Ghazi Raider. It's not as fast, but it's tankier, it does more damage, and it has more ranged armor, okay? It's also got a special trample ability. Pretty cool. So, I would say probably the most unique thing about this civilization, which I've been messing around with, is the fact that they can build these forts, okay? And the forts are cheaper than, like, a keep. They're 425 stone. So let's just build one as an example here. The really cool thing about these forts is as you would expect, it's just kind of a defensive building, so you can garrison 10 villagers, and it just spawns with essentially 2 arrow slits. Okay? Now, it can get emplacements. It can also spawn worker elephants. So, like, if you're gathering gold all the way out here, you put a fort down, and then the worker elephant will spawn from the fort, rather than having to spawn from the town center, which is useful. There's also an upgrade which costs stone, which upgrades the fort with another arrow, increases arrow damage, tile range, and unlocks a second benefit level from a governor. Now, you can get this research 3 times, okay, and I'll explain governors in a second. Also increases the health and fire armor of the fort. Now, each fort can have 1 governor, and as far as I know, if you select a governor for the fort, you cannot select the governor for another fort. Okay? We're going to super quickly go through each one of these, but basically this is the level 1 bonus of the fort, per se. And as you level up using Shahi walls, your governor bonus will increase. Okay, and it kind of shows you the different levels here for each governor. So the defensive fort automatically recruits basically some powerful men-at-arms, which are more powerful in the radius of the forts. Pretty cool, I think. I think I saw Ozzy Drongo kind of using this as a forward positioning point, like a FOB, forward operating base. The food governor, well, I assume you would keep this at home, but you basically put this fort down, you have this governor, you build farms around it, farms generate extra food. There's a cavalry governor where cavalry trained within the influence of the fort have more HP. There's a town center, production speed governor, which this seems kind of crazy, right? Like, you produce villagers faster out of this. So, like, if you get this, let me turn off the cheats. Your boy cannot spell right now. So your villagers produce faster. And then if we get the upgrades for the fort, you can see 2 upgrades with the fort, and your villagers actually produce in 13 seconds. So I think there's a little game, there's some different strategies I think you can do here with like more boomy strategies or more aggressive strategies. Upgrading the fort would almost kind of give you 2 town centers, right? It's like 1.75 town centers there. So there's also an upgrade just to benefit the keep. Now, if we build another fort here, I just want to finish going through the governors. So the other governors, so religious governor, relics and sacred sites generate extra gold. Units healed by healer elephants gain extra damage, which that seems pretty strong. Last one I don't think is nearly as strong, but reduces the cost of researching technologies. So that's pretty much the gameplay, right? Like, Castle Age, they can still get Lancers and War Elephants, as expected. They can still build Castle Crossbows, still build Castle Hand Cannoneers, still build Men-at-Arms. But that's, I think the gameplay here is really supposed to revolve around these forts, right? And the forts are really strong when upgraded. If you get Compound of the Defender, you can take the fort to basically max level. Now, it's going to be really interesting to see how people play this, right? Because you could go with units, you could go with faster villager production, you could go with more food per minute. I mean, if you build 6 forts, you can literally get all of these, right? So do people, like, stay in feudal and they build a lot of forts and they get a lot of upgrades? Kind of seems like if you can get enough stone early, you just, like, throw one of these bad boys down on the stone. Maybe you go with, the defensive governor. And then you keep throwing more of these down and keep getting more bonuses, right? That would, I think, be the more boomy play style that you could play with these guys. More aggressive, you could probably drop a fort on the enemy and go with the defensive one and have a fob. But anyways, that's the Tughlaq Dynasty within 10 minutes. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you learned something, subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next one.